What is LA Noire? Is it the amazingly realistic crime thriller with incredible voice acting, setting, realistic facial animations and engaging story-driven game? Or is it the annoying, repetitive, frustrating, glitchy experience which has no replayability? Honestly, a little bit of both. I have a big love-hate relationship with LA Noire and I still don't really know if it's a game I would recommend. Maybe after writing this script I can finally come to a conclusion. So, as a brand new player who tried it out for the first time a few months ago, after my 23.5-hour playthrough, I can finally give you my thoughts about LA Noire. Buckle up, because you may not like everything you hear in this video. If you do, then a like would be greatly appreciated, and of course you can check some of my other reviews I did in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you LA Noire! LA Noire is the bastard child from a very inexperienced developer Team Bondi and the abusive bitch that is Rockstar Games, who since 2008 I have had a giant hate boner for. For years they have not shown a single bit of care about the PC player base. Often the games on PC are either rushed, barely playable because of glitches, which the player base has to fix, to even a completely broken mess which has no saving grace. When you combine that with Team Bondi and the development hell this game had to face in the early stages, you know, the overworked staff members, the long hours, people constantly leaving because of the abusive conditions in the upper management, no wonder this game had problems. Yeah, that's right, I did my homework. In hindsight, this game should never have even come to fruition, but it did, and I'm glad for it. It's a shame that the PC port, like absolutely always when Rockstar Games is involved, it's okay GTA 5, you are off the hook, is so awful. Where do I begin? Well, why not with the frame rate? Sure, why not limit the game to 30 FPS, it makes it more realistic, right? The real life world back in the day was black and white. Maybe 30 frames per second was the norm, until the 60s or 70s when humanity invented 60 FPS. For say, guys, when are you gonna get it right? 60 FPS is the standard, 144 is ideal, but what happened here? Well, it appears that even 30 FPS is a bit much, because once you start the game, you have 24. Oh, so cinematic, Ubisoft would be so proud. No joke, 24 until you navigate the painfully sluggish 20 FPS menu and change your resolution setting. And yes, you have to do this every single time you restart. That would be fine if you could play the game for non-stop for 5, 6, 7 hours, but because of the way it's set, the repetitive missions, the linear nature, and the case structure, you'll be restoring this game a lot. I mean, look at my play sessions. That's an average of about an hour each time I play, having to go through all this crap every time I restart. Or even worse, when I out-tap. If I have Discord open, for instance. It was infuriating. 30 FPS, sure, it's not that bad once you get used to it. But we have the technology, you have the funds. Rockstar Games was 60 FPS, too much to ask for from you, Team Bondi. Come on! Ugh, alright, enough PC Master Race talk. Call me an elitist, but I have some standards and I'm sick and tired of being treated as a sludge on the bottom of the barrel every time Rockstar Games releases a product. Is this the worst thing about the game? However, no, not by a long shot. You can work around it, but there's no working around how fundamentally broken the core mechanics are in the game. If you haven't noticed from the footage, the idea of this game is that you are a detective detective, and it's your job, and I guess your partner's job, to solve the case. You look through the area of the crime, look for clues, collect evidence, and then question the witness. You ask them a few questions and they give you an answer. After they do, judging by how they answered, you need to try and figure out if they were lying or not. Well then, why do we have three options? There are truth, doubt, and lie. Thing is, this is not what it really is. What they mean is this. 1. I don't believe you, but I know you're lying, so I'm just gonna agree with you or ask an unrelated question so I can move on to the next question. 2. You are lying to my face. How could you? People are dying here, Miranda. Confess, you dirty slut. And 3 is the same exact as 2, but you can present evidence. But present the wrong evidence and you are screwed. Well, tell me, why the heck do we have 3 options when doubt could be completely removed? This would make the game much more difficult, sure, but seeing as how you can completely breeze through the game, get almost everything wrong and still complete it, I would find that as a nice change. To help with this system, the intuitions were introduced. As you progress through the story, you get bonus points, and you can have a max of 5 intuition points at any given time. Use these points to ask the community or to even remove one of the options. And again, the system would be much better if we only had 2 options, because if you remove lie, for instance, it would be a waste of a point. We are back at square one, no help whatsoever. With this set, however, I can only give praises to the next system in place, and that is the facial animations. When you question somebody, you need to take a very good look at his face. I mean, really close. If there's a small hint of hesitation or doubt in his voice, if his eyebrows look out of place, or he has a huge grin like when you do when constipated, that means that the person is lying. Don't be fooled though, people higher in power who you question later in the game are much harder to read. That's great attention to detail because they have been in power because they have lied a lot. They know how to lie and have accustomed themselves to it. That means that very often you get the answer wrong, but don't worry, like I said before, if you get the majority of it wrong, you'll still solve the case. Sure, maybe with a lower star rating, but still the game would not be lost. And here's the thing, guys, you can rely on the facial animations. It's the best thing apart from the story about the game. This level of detail is something I have actually never seen, even in 2020. Hellblade is the only contender when it comes to this stuff, with how gorgeous Senua's expression looked. This is top notch, and I was amazed at how great a game from 9 years ago can look. 9 years, guys. Also, the voice actors, well actually the actors, did a fantastic job as well. Yeah, not just voice actors, they used mocap so every scene had to be acted out. A huge chunk of change probably had to be invested into this technology, and it really shows. You rarely or even never hear me say this, but every single person in this game did a fantastic job with his or her lines. They really sold me on the idea that they live in a very corrupt world where everyone is trying to sell you out or hurt you. In their faces you can see the pain they have suffered, you can read their anger or see how much of a coward they are. I can only give out praises to this part of the game. It really kept me immersed into the world of Los Angeles. It's like playing Mafia 3, man, and my thought about both games are actually pretty much the same. Great acting, okay gameplay, bad PC port and mission structure. Yeah, exactly the same for both games. I've thrown the word repetitive a lot, haven't I? Well, let me tell you what I mean. The game is separated into 5 chapters, let's say. You start off as a cop on the patrol desk and slowly work your way up to traffic desk, desk, homicide desk, vice desk, and finish it off at the arson desk. Each one provides a different style of missions. It starts off very slow and boring with patrol and traffic. Both desks are really boring in my opinion and really soured my experience. Every mission was the same. Your idiot sidekick was not much use, and overall I wish they spent things along in the early stages of the game. In fact, I got so annoyed that I even abandoned the game for several months after finishing off the traffic desk. Little did I know the game only became better. So after suffering through 6-7 hours of crap, you were introduced to homicide, the best portion of the game with the most brutal cases out there. I'm talking real hardcore stuff, man. This is an adult game and it tackles real life issues like murder, strangling, rape. There is full frontal nudity and you yourself need to get close and personal to everyone involved to solve the mystery. This portion of the game had me glued to my seat because I really wanted to put my foot up somebody's ass. I just didn't know who was responsible. So with the help of my lovely and hilarious assistant we managed to solve our cases. Side note here, this guy, I love him so much, he adds so much flavor to the story. He lets out jokes, he packs a punch when he's serious, and he's the laziest bum in the game, making me do all the work. He is the highlight of the game for me. And then there is Vice Desks, with again a new partner, the only person I hate more than the main antagonist. This yappy prick is way too full of himself with his $200 suit and $2,000 car that I don't wanna give him my attention. I don't wanna even talk about him, so just move on. My partner in the arson desk has more personality and better lines than the Vice guy, despite him hating my guts and not knowing how to handle a gun. He was real fun to be around with. He even shares a lot of my opinions on how I wanna deal with the bad guys.
You're not gonna get this guy. There's gonna be no photos and no citations. We're gonna kill this miserable fuck. End of story. You getting this?
The game unfortunately falls apart in the last chapter. Things just fall out of place. The playable characters change, the story goes into a different direction, but I won't spoil it here. Just be prepared for some weird things later on, which you may not agree with. Before that, the story is superb. You are a war hero, who then tries to make a living being a cop. You get promoted, demoted, meet many great people along the way, meet your arch nemesis, the real love of your life, get punched in the face, get shot at, ridiculed by the press, despite your amazing accomplishments and much more. The playable character has such a great personality, such a great and powerful voice.
I get the impression that Celine liked to live the glamorous life. How did she end up with a hump like you, Jacob?
While I don't agree with everything he does in the game and how he lives his life, his police work is top notch and everyone in the game seems to think the same. Well, apart from this butthole, I guess. As for the missions, like I said, pretty repetitive stuff. You get a case, go to a crime scene, look at the victim, get some clues about what happened, call the headquarters, get an address, drive to it, get some more clues, do this a couple more times, catch 2 suspects, question both, arrest one of these 2, and then get yelled at from your boss for accusing the wrong guy, or get congratulated for a job well done. This, guys, is 90% of the game, the same mission 20 times with different suspects. You occasionally get a chase sometimes. A suspect could get scared, you chase him around the city, beat up his car a bit, he stops, and you book him. These chase sequences are actually pretty fun, and they're a nice break from the monotony of the other cases. In one mission you even have to solve a maze. Yeah, I know, not very original, but hey, it's something else to do. Solve the maze as your lazy sidekick smokes a cigarette. Other times you get into very basic combat. And I do mean a very basic combat. Almost GTA San Andreas level basic. I mean, sure, you have a cover system, but I've only used it once probably, as you do have a lot of health in these sections. Cover is just not needed. The terrible mouse moving, which cannot be turned off, makes these sections a chore at times, but hey again, something different to do. And what else can the game throw at you, which is vastly different from the rest of the game? Something which every single gamer absolutely loves and cherishes. Tailing missions! Woohoo! Everyone loves these, right? You don't? But guys, here you follow painfully slow people who can turn around at any moment, with no indication, and can fail the mission, making you restart from the beginning, but not before, making you watch the 5-minute unskippable cutscenes every single time you fail. Oh, and trust me, you fail a lot, despite being in complete cover half the time. No worries though, watch this cutscene for the 10th time, that's gonna make you like this mission, right? Ugh, tailing missions are the bane of my existence. I hate them in GTA, I hate them in Ass Creed, I hate them in Batman Arkham games, but at least in Arkham you can swing around, figuring out the best route. You get indications on where to hide, and when your victim turns around. Here is just walk slowly, guess when the person can spot you, try to hide here even though it might not work, and pray that the destination is close enough so you can stop this crap and move on to more interesting things such as shootouts, chases, or talking to suspects. In short guys, this game is not for me. I play games to relax. I don't like puzzle games. I don't like being challenged mentally. Basically, I don't wanna think that much when I play games. Even if you fix the frame rate, remove mouse moving, remove the doubt option from conversations, remove the tailing missions, make the cutscenes skippable, make the camera control better while driving a vehicle, fix this guy's face, holy crap, and many more. I would still not like it. I'm not that kind of gamer, but if you are into mysteries and like solving puzzles, then guys, go ahead and get this game. It's the perfect mystery / detective game out there, and you would absolutely love it. The story will no doubt keep you engaged throughout. You, just like me, will remember these characters forever, and will maybe get some replayability from it by retrying to complete the cases with a full star rating. As for me, I guess I'm happy that I played it. At least now you guys, after years of recommendations, will stop telling me to play it, and maybe this video helps some of you out, form your own opinions about LA Noire. I hope my video helped you out guys the same way my lovely channel members and Patreon supporters help me every single month, and they are Smokio, House the Chowder, Alex Chavez, Max Robinson, and everyone else listed on the screen. Thank you so much for the support.